really thought about coming to Poland until my niece Samantha Margolis, who works for APAC, who met with friends of the forum, and she mentioned to us about a year ago, is this something you'd be interested in? And I had never really thought about it before and said, well, if everybody else is going to go, I'll go too.
So I came to Poland 4 years ago through the forum. And before I came to Poland, I didn't really think much about it. I didn't think it was bad, I didn't think it was good. I just knew my grandfather was from a small town in Poland. I came away from my trip learning so much and feeling a connection with Poland that I didn't have before. And now it was so much more than just a place where my grandfather was from. It was a place that I felt a connection to.
My father, who was born in Lumja, who died many years ago, never really talked much about his life growing up in Poland. He came over to this country when he was about 16, and because of the trip we decided to go do a little history ourselves, which we found so interesting.
I was very excited, mostly just to learn more about my family's roots. I honestly didn't think a whole lot about the deeper repercussions of what that would mean to the students who did the research and everybody else involved.
When Andrzej came to Chicago a couple months ago and talked about the School for Dialogue and how they were going into these small shtetl towns in Poland to educate the next generation, the Polish youth, about the Jewish history of their town, I thought of my grandfather. So we talked to my family members and decided that we also wanted to come and meet with the students. So that's why we're here. When we walked into the room with the students, they were all so excited and they were so put together and so professional, and you could tell their enthusiasm and their passion that they were as excited to have us there as we were to be there.
Yes, the family history was amazing. The documents they found about my family were amazing, but the passion, excitement, and effort that these students put into the work was totally inspiring.
And they had put together this amazing guidebook that, well, we had heard that they had put something together, but we had no idea that it was going to be so professional. The other most meaningful thing was they found these documents about not only my grandfather but his family, and they presented those documents to us at the end with the Russian translated into the English, and we learned things about my family and names of my great-grandparents and where they were from that we never knew before. So that was also very emotional and meaningful for my family.
Learning about my father's history, looking at the place that we think was the location of his home, to the cemetery where my grandmother was buried, and walking those areas truly was one of the more amazing days of my life.
The most meaningful part for me was they showed us the general area where my grandfather lived. And so to be there in the spot where he and his family lived, or in that general area, and to go to the Jewish cemetery where my great-grandmother is buried, and to walk along the places that they walked, that was the most meaningful part to me, to think that decades earlier that they were in the same spot and I got to look around and see the same things that they got to see.
I think that what the forum does and what we learned, there's certainly a lot about learning about my father, but I think this idea of this Hebrew expression of tikkun olam, repairing the world, this truly is an example of repairing the world, in both ways.
It was just so much more than we ever could have dreamed that it could. So thank you.